Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Before I get into the topic of today's video, I just want to say that the reason I haven't been posting in over 2 months is because my desktop doesn't work anymore. But hopefully, I'll get a new setup soon and the quality of the videos will increase. I'm also learning a little bit about video editing, so I'm hopeful that, the overall quality of the videos will go up. So stay tuned for that. Let me know if you prefer this format where I just talk about these sort of topics like this, or if you prefer kind of a like a first person format where you see my POV as I'm driving around and I just talk about these topics. Let me know what you prefer to see, because I was thinking about posting that sort of content where I'm just driving around and I'm talking about these sort of things. And if you've been a follower of the channel since the beginning, you know that I started off just talking about topics that were a little out there, that people would label conspiracy or conspiracy theories. The whole purpose of the channel began with just trying to wake people up, trying to get people thinking deeper about the lives they live and about the world around them, right? Just get them thinking and get them to wake up from, for the lack of a better word, the matrix. I know that I'm grateful for all the people that I came across, for all the videos that I came across, for all the things that helped me to awaken from my slumber, right? And I'm sure I'm still pretty brainwashed about certain things, but at least now I have that sort of, ability to not take things at face value, but instead just look into things deeply and critically think about things, right? And not just be a blind follower or a blind sheep. And just having that skill alone is very useful. It's a very important skill to have that unfortunately is beaten out of us through various means as we grow up. The school system, for example. But today's video, I just wanted to talk about the 9-to-5 lifestyle as they sell it to us, as they brand it to us. Just trying to normalize it as much as possible. But if you look into the origins of that work week, right, 9 to 5, 5 days a week, sometimes even more. If you look into the origins of it, if you look into the origins of the system, you find that, or the school system, you find that they are related. That a lot of these things are just continuations from, the models of work, models of education, ways of living that started off in the 1900s, early 1900s, late 1800s. Started off by wealthy industrialists who started putting their hands into education. They started to, again, basically corrupt it so that it would benefit them. Industrialists creating all these factories, brainwashing people into thinking that spending 8+ hours a day in a factory, working, right, slaving away, because that's what most people were doing. That's what most people working these jobs were doing, right? They were just destroying their bodies, doing hard physical labor, repetitive work for the benefit of these industrialists, creating whatever product they had, right? Whether it was car parts or metal tools or whatever it might have been. That was pretty much the common theme. That was pretty much the modus operandi of all these sort of jobs that started popping up in that age. And it basically continues to this day. It's just a modified version of it, right? It's just a modified version of it. Even though back then the power of the dollar, for example, had a lot more power to it. Every year the value of the dollar just keeps going down. Every year it loses purchasing power while the cost of living stays the same, for example, or it just keeps going up. It's all deliberate. It's all done very deliberately and methodically. Don't think that all of this is just an accident that came about because people were just trying their best to somehow manage society. No. All of this stuff has happened before. All of this stuff is very well planned out. And it's definitely not for the benefit of the average person. And if you haven't figured that out by now, I don't know what to tell you. If you haven't seen the fact that this system, that this way of living that most people are led to believe is normal, is definitely not catered towards the individual. It's not catered towards, the comfort, the prosperity of your average person, right? It's like, it makes me think of that scene in The Matrix where Morpheus holds up a little battery, right? And he's basically telling Neo how the system views the average person or something along those lines, right? He holds up that little battery. And that is a very good example of what, the system views us as. Just energy sources, things that are just meant to be used and discarded, that doesn't pay no attention, that pays no attention to how you feel, or whether you're happy or not, or whether you're actually enjoying your life. It just cares about production and profit, unfortunately. So yes, all that stuff started to begin in the late 1800s, and it continues on to this day. Again, it's just a modified version of it. Now we're told that the 9 to 5 is normal. If you were to ask your average person on the street, is working a 9 to 5 job normal? They would probably say yes. There's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5 if you enjoy it, but how many people can honestly say that they enjoy their 9 to 5 work? The vast majority will probably say that they don't, right? The vast majority will probably say that they don't like their job, that they're miserable even, that they would rather do something else. And that's the whole point of this video. Don't be conformed to the ways of the world, like the Bible says. Just because you grow up being brainwashed with the idea that this is normal life, that you go to school, you get a job, you work 30-40 years of your life, you retire at 60, and you enjoy the 10-15 years that you may have left with some sort of freedom, right? The sort of freedom that you should have really had when you were younger, when you were in your 20s and your 30s. That doesn't mean that you should be a bum and not be responsible for the things you need to do. It simply means that you don't need to conform to the ways of the world, right? You don't need to conform to that sort of life. I get it. Everybody's situation is different. Sometimes you just have to work a job. But if you're continuously going somewhere day after day, the hours just keep on piling up, you hate your job, you're spending the majority of your time of your life doing something that is completely unsatisfactory to you, or you get no satisfaction from it, you get no sort of fulfillment from it, it's just a means to an end, then is that really living? I wouldn't say so. That's just being a robot, right? That's just being a drone, going on and on every day with the same routine, not really changing it, and you don't enjoy it. But the point is, again, you can change it if you want to. You don't have to live that life. It all starts with that belief you have about it. That is where it all really begins. You say to yourself, enough of this, there's got to be a different way, and you start taking the action necessary to change it, right? It really is that simple, but it's anything but simple to get started. That's probably the hardest part, right? Believing that it can be done and just getting started. So there's plenty of resources out there that show people the way when it comes to this topic. It just came up. I just wanted to talk about it because it kind of inspired me to make this video, because there's so many times I go out to run errands or go grocery shopping or whatever. I go into whatever store or whatever place of business I may go into, and everybody just looks so unhappy, right? The vast majority of workers at a job look so miserable. And don't get me wrong, a lot of jobs can be that, but it just got me thinking how most people think that this is normal, to just absolutely despise your job and go into it day after day and not really do anything about it, right? How we're brainwashed to believe, again, the moment we enter the school system, that this is somehow normal life. But it's anything but that. So be an individual, think for yourself. There's always a way out. Again, you don't need to conform to that 9 to 5 lifestyle if you don't want to. There's other ways to make money than, selling your time, selling your soul for less than what it's worth for a company that doesn't care about you, just to get paid with pieces of green paper that lose their value every year. There's other ways to go about it, ways where you can have more freedom, right? Where you can have, not in an unethical way, of course, always in an ethical way, but there's always different possibilities, right? Think back when you were a kid, how the world just seemed so full of opportunity, of possibilities, and no fear came into your mind when you wanted to make a decision, right? If you were to ask a child what they wanted to be, they would just give you these what we call now as adults, right? Extravagant or unrealistic is another word that's thrown around. Ideas of what you wanted to be. But when you were a kid, you were certain that you were going to achieve it, right? Have that childlike wonder, have that childlike essence within you, that, mentality of anything is possible. And it's just a matter of taking action, right? Don't buy into the idea or the ideas that the world is selling you. That there's scarcity, that it's all just fear based mind control, if you ask me. Right? The key is to be an individual and to think for yourself and to realize that there's more than enough, right? There's more than enough opportunity to go around, and you don't need to settle for less. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. If you have any comments about this topic, put it down in the comments below. Anything that helped you out to break out of the so-called 9-to-5 system, or the matrix, right, as they say, that can potentially help other people, right? These are just my thoughts about this topic. It just came into my mind again. Made me think about how all this stuff that is labeled normal to us, that is sold to us as normal, is anything but. So new videos are coming soon. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.